Doctors recommend it. Teachers insist on it. Most of us can't imagine starting the day without it. But for much of human history, many people lived without a fixed morning meal. The idea that breakfast is the most important meal of the day wasn't born in a lab. It was popularized through marketing.
In 1944, General Foods launched a grocery store campaign with that slogan to boost the sales of grape nut cereal. For thousands of years, human eating patterns often followed feast or famine cycles, shaped more by food availability than by the time on a clock. Our biology is adapted to scarcity, but the Industrial Revolution forced humanity off the sundial and onto rigid factory clock time. Before the factory floor, the morning meal was often viewed with suspicion. Ancient Romans sometimes associated eating more than once a day with gluttony and poor digestion. By the Middle Ages, religious culture also treated eating before certain morning rituals as a surrender to the appetites of the flesh, something associated with weakness, sickness, or indulgence. If our biology did not always require a fixed breakfast, and many traditions questioned it, we have to look at how a once suspicious habit was transformed into a mandatory multi-billion-dollar routine. The shift accelerated when capitalism mechanized human labor. In the 19th century, workers were pulled from farms and pushed into factories for grueling 15-hour shifts. To sustain continuous machine operation, the new working class needed an immediate, cheap source of fuel that could be consumed before the dawn whistle blew. Industrial society found part of that fuel in the form of sugar and coffee. These were fast-burning calories that kept workers alert, but their sudden availability in Europe was deeply tied to the expansion of the transatlantic slave trade. The sweetness in the morning cup was extracted through brutal systems of violence. On plantations in Brazil and the Caribbean, millions of enslaved laborers were forced into extreme conditions to process the sugarcane that helped power modern consumption. The foundation of the modern, convenient breakfast was tied not only to factory schedules, but also to the economics of enslaved labor. By the late 1800s, America's morning meal had evolved into a heavy, chaotic feast of fried pork and beefsteaks. This diet was associated with a widespread complaint of indigestion known as dyspepsia. Dr. John Harvey Kellogg viewed this digestive crisis through the lens of Seventh-day Adventist theology. He saw the human gut as a battlefield for the soul. Kellogg developed his bland, flaked cereals as a medical and moral food. He believed that heavy, spicy meats overstimulated the nerves, and that a plain, unstimulating diet could help suppress carnal desire and promote purity. But his brother, W.K. Kellogg, saw a different kind of opportunity. He stripped the flakes of much of their religious mission, added sugar and salt for mass appeal, and turned his brother's medical prescription into a global corporate empire. While cereal took over the bowl, the pork industry faced a surplus. In the 1920s, Beechnut Packing Company hired Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud and the father of public relations, to make bacon essential again. Bernays ignored the product and targeted the subconscious. He hired a physician to survey 5,000 doctors, asking if a heavy breakfast provided more energy than a light one. When the doctors agreed, Bernays ensured the results reached major newspapers across the country. Headlines soon suggested that thousands of physicians supported a heavier breakfast, and the public connected that message with bacon and eggs. Through the combination of Kellogg's moral food culture and Bernays' psychological marketing, the all-American breakfast was successfully programmed into the public mind. By the 1960s, a new threat emerged for the food industry. Scientists were publishing evidence that added sugar could play a role in coronary heart disease. In response, the Sugar Research Foundation launched Project 226. They paid Harvard researchers, the modern equivalent of about $50,000, to publish a literature review that downplayed the role of sucrose and shifted attention toward fat. This industry-funded science helped shape public nutrition debates for decades. Later, the 1992 USDA Food Guide Pyramid placed 6 to 11 servings of grains at the base of the American diet. While not all carbohydrates are the same, the guide helped normalize a diet heavily centered on cereal grains and starches, many of which were consumed in processed forms. This system helped create a massive food industry designed to make breakfast fast, cheap, sweet, and easy to overconsume. The biological bill for this century of convenience has become harder to ignore. Highly processed breakfast foods, refined starches, and added sugars have contributed to broader problems around insulin resistance, damaged glucose regulation, and type 2 diabetes.
And the exploitation that began in the industrial era has not fully disappeared. Many children still labor in global supply chains that provide ingredients used in modern breakfast commodities, including cocoa, palm oil, and sugar. There was one brief moment where this routine was reclaimed. In 1969, the Black Panther Party launched a free breakfast program for children, using the meal as a tool for community survival before the organization was targeted by federal authorities and weakened. The modern morning routine is not just a simple personal habit. It is the end product of a century and a half of religion, industry, marketing, labor exploitation, and corporate influence. Breakfast was sold to us as the most natural meal of the day, but when you look closely, it becomes something far more complicated. Every bowl, every slice, every sweetened cup carries a history most of us were never taught. And maybe the real question is not whether breakfast is good or bad. The real question is who taught us what breakfast was supposed to be.